It's no secret that we have a loneliness epidemic, but what people don't realize is that while it's important to connect with other people in order to not be so lonely, it's also really important to learn how to be by yourself. And if you can make alone time fulfilling, and if it can feel like you are connecting deeply with yourself, then that will also help with those times when you're by yourself and you're not able to get in touch with anyone or hang out with anyone, and it'll just make you less codependent overall. So let's talk about how to have a really fulfilling, really beautiful time by yourself. The first thing that I'm going to recommend you do is go and take the love languages quiz and figure out your primary love language. Once you've taken the quiz and you know what your primary love language is, you want to think about ways to give your love language to yourself. So my love language is words of affirmation, and I practice a lot of positive self-talk. I do affirmations every single night. I have some affirmations that I say just throughout the day. Like if I'm bored, I'll just speak kindly to myself. I use a lot of those affirmations videos on YouTube, and I just make it a point to speak positively towards myself because my love language is words of affirmation. And what that does is that strengthens my relationship with myself, so that if I find myself alone, or if I'm not able to get in touch with people or whatever, I feel really good about the person that I am spending time with. And so for some of you, your love language is quality time. And then the answer really does lie in learning how to spend quality time with yourself. And so let's talk a little bit about how to spend quality time with yourself, because no matter what your love language is, I really think that this is the practice that is going to help people cure the loneliness epidemic above and beyond just making sure that you connect with other people, because there are always going to be those times when no one is available, or when people are out of town, or whatever it might be, and you're just going to find yourself by yourself. And that doesn't have to be a bad thing, and that doesn't have to ultimately equate to loneliness. By the way, before I forget, if you want more information on giving your own love language to yourself, I actually learned that practice from the book Buy Yourself the Damn Flowers by Tam Kaur. And so if you want to read that book, I will link that down in the description below, and that will give you more information in terms of just building out a whole self-love practice. And also, if you're interested in journaling for self-love and you really want to build up a relationship with yourself, and maybe you don't want to read a whole book, or you want to do this in addition to reading the book, I actually have a free self-love and self-worth journal guide that I'll also link down below. And that journal guide is full of exercises that are going to help you heal and cultivate a really beautiful relationship with yourself. So with all of that said, let's continue unpacking how to spend quality time with yourself. And again, no matter what your primary love language is, I really recommend that you do this, because it will just help you not feel like you can't be alone with yourself, and it'll help you not feel so lonely. So the first key to spending quality time with yourself is making sure that you actually have plans with yourself. So it's not just no one's around and you have nothing going on and nothing to do and you're bored, but I would recommend having time scheduled, just like you have time scheduled with your family and with your friends and with your partner, if you have one, or whoever it may be. Make plans with yourself, and you are unavailable during that time, because that is the time that you're spending with yourself. Make it an event, make it something that's important. Even if you're going to be sitting at home, it doesn't have to be that you have an outing planned with yourself, although we will talk more about that, taking yourself out on a solo date. But even if you are going to be in the house, plan it out as if you are going to just be with yourself, and that's just as important as time that you would be spending with someone else. So block it off on the calendar. You're not available during your you time or your alone time. And then from there, I want you to actually decide ahead of time what you're going to do. So I love some just unstructured free time as much as the next person, and I think that holds a lot of value. But if you are intentionally trying to become your own best friend and not feel so lonely, then you want to have a plan to do something that you know you're really going to enjoy. Whether it's, again, you're going to be at home and you're going to watch your favorite movie, or you're going to eat your favorite meal, or like I really love cooking, so for me I would plan out like some recipes, maybe even like an appetizer recipe, a dinner recipe, and a dessert recipe, and I would just like spend the evening cooking and listening to music and drinking my favorite tea or like wine or something like that, and just making it a really beautiful night where I am like pampering myself. You could do an at-home spa day. There are so many recommendations. You can even go on Pinterest and look up like at-home, solo dates or self-care night and see what comes up. There are so many options, but you just want to make sure that it is an event, that you are blocking off that time and protecting it, and that you have an idea of what you're actually going to be doing with yourself so that you have something to look forward to, right? Like, it's just in the same way that you would be looking forward to a friend date or looking forward to a romantic date or something like that. You want to be looking forward to this. Like, I'm looking forward to lighting a candle and taking a bath and reading my book and like listening to my favorite music, and just like make it something that you are anticipating and that you are excited about. So that is the next tip. The other thing that I want to say is, if you are planning to take yourself out on a solo date, I would recommend that you think about something that you feel really excited to do alone. Building up to, going to dinner alone or going on a whole solo trip or something like that. Sometimes if you're uncomfortable spending time alone, that might feel a little weird, especially if you, are worried about drawing attention to yourself or whatever. I personally do not struggle with that. I have been going to restaurants alone for years and I love solo travel, but I know that for lots of people, even people that like I'm really close to, that's uncomfortable. So don't force yourself to go out to a crowded restaurant and eat at a table alone if that's something that you genuinely can't get behind, and if it's something that you would like put off and cancel because you don't want to do it. You can start with something as simple as going on a walk in nature, right? Just spending some time with your favorite podcast or an audiobook or something, and going on a walk by the ocean or at the park or whatever nature is available to you. You could also think about bringing your journal or bringing your book to a coffee shop and having your cup of coffee sitting there, and then staying for maybe an hour or two after you finish your coffee and just enjoying your time, So just remembering that, like, just because you're alone, it doesn't mean you have to rush through things. Like, sometimes if we go to a coffee shop alone, we just get it to go and we go home, or we get it to go and we just move on to the next thing. But you could have like a coffee shop solo date where you order your coffee, you sit there with it, and you could even pull up Netflix on your computer and watch Netflix. Like, it's not like you have to be doing something super intentional with your time, but just like, I am going to sit here by myself and enjoy myself. So nature is a really great place to do this. Coffee shops. You could go see a movie by yourself. I honestly really like doing that, and it's like a nice way to just relax and decompress and be out of the house, but to be spending time with yourself and creating like a shared memory or a shared moment just with you. And then the last thing that I'll leave you with is, after you have spent some time by yourself and you've practiced this, and I would recommend doing this like twice a month to get started, just so that you can like get in the groove, either having that protected time where you're at home doing something, or that protected solo date where you're out in the world doing something. Just make sure that you have like 1 to 2 a month of these little moments where you are just intentionally spending time with yourself. And then as it gets more and more comfortable, you can do it more and work your way up to like once a week or whatever that might be. But the key is to just start where you can start and to keep going until it feels more and more comfortable, and until you're able to do it more frequently. But as you are doing this practice, I also want you to just take some time and actively reflect. So maybe at the end of the day, after you've spent a couple hours by yourself or even 1 hour by yourself, just ask yourself, like, how am I feeling? What was my favorite memory from that little solo date that I had? What's something that, stood out to me? What's something positive that I want to take with me? And that will help reinforce to yourself that this is fun, that this is exciting, and it will help you want to do it more and more. Okay, so that is what I have to say about loneliness and being your own best friend. If you want to journal through some practices that are going to help you build a healthier relationship with yourself, definitely check out my self-love and self-worth journal guide down below. It's free. And I also work with clients on cultivating a healthy relationship with themselves in my life coaching business. So if you want to learn more about becoming a coaching client, you can also head down below and book a free coaching consultation. And the purpose of that session is for us to just get to know each other and determine if it would be a good fit to work together. And so if you're curious about what that process is like, you can go ahead down below and book a consultation. The final thing before I go is that if you've made it all the way to the end of this episode, I also want to make sure you realize I have a podcast with over 150 episodes all about transforming yourself and transforming your life. It is called the You 2.0 podcast. And if you like this kind of content and if you like watching the videos on my YouTube channel, you will love this podcast. I have been doing it since 2022 and it is one of my favorite platforms. And so if you want more after this video, make sure you head to Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts and put in You 2.0 by Samara Kasai, and you will be able to find me and hang out with me more over there. All right, I love you so much, and I will see you again very soon in another video. Take care.